Beer and Bulges is brought to you by Bloodline, Blood Orange Ale from Flying Dog Brewery here in Frederick, Maryland. So tasty. All right, kids, I wanted to talk to you about a nice little list that I played here recently. This is a 2,000 point list of Thunderwolves. What we have here is one squad, a 6-man squad of Thunderwolves, and one Thunderhammer and one Power Fist, the all just normal hand-to-hand combat weapons and Storm Shields. We also have two Iron Wolves. They're Iron Priests, you should say, on Thunderwolves. They're works in progress, as you guys can see. I took the head and chest piece off of the Flyers, added the shoulder pads too to give them that nice Iron Wolfy look, and I made sure I used all of the iron, steel, cyborg type stuff for the Wolves. So, as you guys can see, the backpack isn't done yet. I'm going to make my own backpack, but that doesn't matter. We'll get to the point and we'll talk about this. So this list is 2,000 points. Well, actually, it's like 199.9. So, 1 point shy. But that's okay. Let's talk about what we have. So we have one 6-man squad of Thunderwolves. That's up one from the old codex. We have one Thunderhammer and one Power Fist. I like to mix it up a little bit. We could drop the Thunderhammer and do another Power Fist, but I feel like it's Wolfy. They're going to want Power Fist. Now, one cool thing about the Iron Priest is that they have a Thunderhammer and a servo harness. The servo harness counts as an additional close combat weapon. It's also a specialty weapon. So the Thunderhammer gives them +1 attack, plus the +1 attack that the Thunderwolf mount gives them. So that means they have 2 base attacks. +1 is 3. On the charge, they would have 4. Strength 10, AP 1. Now, I know what you guys are saying. No, the Thunderwolves are war gear. They gave you Strength 9. Go ahead and read the comment on Facebook. They give you Strength 10. Games Workshop has been over this before, and I'm sure when it's fact again, it'll be good again. And, you know, sorry, those Strength 9 people. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to win that argument. So, we also have 5 Cyberwolves. 2 for this guy over here and 3 for this guy over here just to make the points. Now, this squad is pretty interesting. These guys can peel off if they want to for whatever. They, of course, can have challenges. Your Cyberwolves can also do challenges as well because they are considered characters. And, of course, your sergeant from the squad can take a challenge. So you're able to you know, deploy the the wounds and everything. Very cool. Another thing about these guys is because these guys are 2 up, but no invuln save, while these guys are 3 up with their storm shields. So lookout serves are very important. It is a way to kind of spread around the wounds, and I'll talk about that in a upcoming battle report. Anyway, these guys can take a lot of wounds, 2 wounds each for all the models here, with the exception of the Cyberwolves, who are almost like juiced up Space Marines. So that we have that times 2, another unit over here, and forgive them for not being painted. You can see the 2 Iron Priests on Wolfback and the same type of squads as we have. Now we do have one lonely guy who's got a axe, but we're not going to count that as a power axe. We might paint it up something pretty. So let's talk about this squad right here. So we have Mr. Harald Deathwolf. He's pretty. You know, really liking that axe. Really liking that troll skin. I think he did a pretty good job on that. So, cool thing about Harald. First off, he's the only Wolf Lord that has 4 wounds because of the Thunderwolf giving me an additional wound. And he's pretty badass. Now, the pyromancy and immune to flammer thing, you know, yeah, I like to see when that's going to happen. Thus far, it hasn't, because it's kind of a waste. But he is Strength 5, Toughness 5. He gets Frost Axe there, so he can give a couple pluses. Plus, he gives everybody in a squad Furious Charge, which is really going to get interesting in here when I talk about Canis. Now, Canis was kind of the bane of any competitive players, you know, Space Wolf list, because basically everybody thought he sucked in the last version. And, you know, while he did only have 2 wounds and he did die pretty easily, he does have 3 wounds now. And you know what? I don't have any issue with him. I've always liked him. I like the way he looks, even his stupid fluffy looking dog. I think he's pretty cool, and I've had fun with him throughout the years. And so he goes in this list as well, because not only does he have Rampage, which is very popular with GW right now, but he gives all of these puppies basically their twin-length attacks, which is awesome. They re-roll their hits, which is pretty badass. So you got Fenrisian Wolves getting 2 attacks base. On the charge is 3, making them Strength 5, and re-roll the hit. Strength 5, most time you're going to be wounding on 2s for the majority of the critters out there, unless you're fighting other Marines, which you're going to be wounding on 3s instead of 2s. That's pretty nasty. So you're talking about 2 base on the Assault 3. I have 13 in a squad here, plus each of these guys has 2 wolves. So that's 2, 4, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 wolves. That's a lot of hits. That's pretty nasty. We also threw another Thunderwolf, Wolf Guard, but he has a Storm Shield and a Claw, so you can, use that Shred special rule. So a lot of devastating hits. Now here's the bold thing about this army. There are but 4 bolt guns in this army. And this army is going to rely on its speed and being able to really get into combat to protect it from a shooting phase. It is a very hard army to play. For 2,000 points, there's a lot of DACA that come at you. This is a pretty tough army. The toughness 5 stuff is going to come in to help. The invulnerable saves, the plethora of invulnerable saves is going to come in to help as well. And the ability for these guys to peel off of different units once they become, like the wolves here become a tar pit unit for, smaller groups. Some of these other guys can peel off before that happens. And you do have some of these bullet-catching wolves in there can get in the mix and soak up a lot of wounds. So, all right, let's talk about this army. This is a very much a themed army. Very fun to play. It can go one of 2 ways. You can overwhelm a lot of people very fast. I mean, you guys can see how much table this thing is taking. These guys are taking up. I can literally spread these guys through the whole table, just a solid line coming down and wrapping up everybody in combat. I played this army just as a kind of a fun against my buddy Dave. He played a Dark Eldar force, and these guys, this one squad, took out 18 Eldar jet bikes in one. It made actually 2 turns. The Eldar jet bikes foolishly charged them. One squad was completely destroyed in assault, and then these guys did a disordered charge and destroyed 2 more units. It was pretty devastating. So it can be nasty, really fast. You're talking about a lot of ability to put a lot of wounds out there. Now the problem with that though is you put out too many wounds, you're left out in the open the next turn to get shot to shit. So that's one concern that you have to really take in consideration. Not doing too much. Now the ability to throw wounds on your Iron Priest is pretty cool too, because they have 2 up save, they have 2 wounds, and there's 2 of them. So I tend to put them in the front, let them soak up the hits of high AP stuff, some of the low AP stuff, AP2 stuff. At that point, reduce lookout sirs. And the cool thing about that statistically, you roll a 1 for lookout sir, you fail it, chances are you're probably not going to roll a 1 again. So there's that. And the other thing too is you do have the wolves that can soak up hits as well if you want to. The cyber wolves can be pretty nasty. Also, keep these guys in a pretty close together. They're going to benefit from the warlord traits from good old Harald there. So an interesting force. Had fun playing it. It's one of those themed armies. It's a challenge. Can you fight a game that is not very friendly to close combat right now? Can you play that game against some very shooty armies and survive? One thing I say about this, playing Tau Force, they get pretty ugly pretty fast, but if you can wrap those guys up, they can't go anywhere. You're more likely to, if you don't wipe them out in the first turn, wipe them out by the second turn. So then your first turn, you're free to make your next assault. Of course, assaulting in your turn, surviving to their turn for assault, and then be able to get out of assault and hit the next group of people. So cool stuff, fun army. Who doesn't like Space Marines thrown onto giant wolves that kill people? So for the color scheme, I'm not quite done painting these guys, as you guys can see. We're going to be doing Harald's pack marking. We're going to be doing Harald's company marking on the shoulder, and then I got to figure out a different Wolf Guard pack marking for each guy. We'll wait until I get them all painted up first before I mark them with their packs. I fought the Thunderwolf Iron Priest last game. A lot of people jumped on those guys, and I just never got the gumption to make any. But when the new flyers came out, the Stormwolf with the Iron Priest inside, I like kit bashing stuff, so I jumped on it, and I've got 4. 2 meets, and of course we're using the Champions of Fenris. 2 is going to meet the the minimum elite choices for the game, and of course everybody on here is going to get an additional weapon skill, with the exception of the Iron Priest. And the Wolf Guard gets a additional weapon skill. So weapon skill 5 for all these guys. So most likely they're all going to be hitting on 3s for the majority of the time. So very cool stuff, guys. Just want to share that with you. Little 2,000 point list. And the only thing that really is done up special is this guy. And of course you can drop him down. We actually played a 1750 point game, and I dropped him in the correction. We played a 1750 point game, and I just dropped the Fenrisian Wolves and got my points down low enough and took away some of the special weapons to be ready to rock and roll. Now, if you wanted to go with some extra stuff, you can give him a 2+ as well with some runic armor. And then if you had some extra points, you can actually make him a Wolf Lord. Give him an additional attack and additional wound. Throw another 4 wound model up on there. But that's up to you guys. So just want to share that with you guys. Let me know what you think, and we'll have some more stories here from our friends, the Thunderwolves, Harald Deathwolf and his gang here in the near future. Canis is going to get some play time here, even though people be hating on him. People be hating. And hopefully soon here we'll get all these rest of these guys painted up, because I'm tired of I hate playing with unpainted models. It's the bane of my existence. Alright, you guys take care. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Later.